Well, I don't really know what to say now or what to think. So it was reported Willie Fritz was definitely going to be our next head coach. And then not so fast, my friend. I saw someone comment that I thought was pretty funny. I guess an hour after it was reported, like Pete Thamel, I think's his name, from ESPN, reported that this is actually not a done deal. This thing hasn't been inked. The coaching search continues. I am truly perplexed because the AJC reported this, from the Rumble seat reported this. I believe like 247 reported this, and even Sports Illustrated. So these are all very credible sources. These are people that don't want to be wrong, which tells me that someone very close to the program told Ken Segura, whoever at the AJC, that this was definitely a done deal, and it wasn't. So my question is, well, how did some reporter from ESPN that's not an Atlanta-based guy know that this wasn't the case, and people that should know what's going on that are Atlanta-based reporters didn't? So one of my thoughts was, well, maybe they leaked this to see to gauge, what the temperature was with the fan base on the hire of Willie Fritz. I think that's unlikely to be the case, and I'm giving credit to the Tech administration and Jay Batt. You should never let your fan base dictate who the hire is going to be, because at the end of the day, the Tech administration, Jay Batt, are far more equipped to make a decision on who needs to be the head coach at Georgia Tech. I'm just an idiot with a microphone and a cell phone. What do I know about it? I can only go based on what I've seen, and it, to me, I'll tell you what, it would be different. Let's say Georgia Tech hired the Cincinnati coach, who's now going to Wisconsin. Hey, Luke Fickell is going to be the next coach at Georgia Tech. Everyone who's a Brent Key supporter would be like, man, that stinks for Brent Key, but no question, that's a better hire than Brent Key. This is a guy that took Cincinnati to the playoffs, has an incredible record at Cincinnati, but that's not the case. And I will, I guess, issue an apology. I guess with the 2-10 season last year, someone brought it up in the comments that I guess there was a hurricane had swept through. They had some games canceled. They had a lot of things going on outside of their control. It's probably not indicative of the type of coach that Willie Fritz is. But I would still say the rest of his resume at Tulane is not impressive enough for me to think that he's clearly better choice than Brent Key. Now, for the Brent Key dissenters, and I commented or replied to the comment on Key. I guess the most valid criticism is that he's not a great recruiter, it's not clear that he would be a great recruiter. I don't know. I don't know that we know that, though. He hasn't been the head coach. He hasn't, I don't know to what level he's been involved with recruiting. Surely he is, especially with recruiting offensive linemen, and that we've struggled at offensive line. Recruiting is a fair criticism, but just saying, well, Key's doo-doo because the offensive line has struggled. They didn't struggle against Georgia. They didn't struggle against North Carolina. And I don't know, how difficult would it be to overcome the disaster and the leadership of Coach Collins, If you're at a job and the guy running the program is just doing all the wrong things, it might be somewhat impossible to overcome that. Probably the fairest criticism of Key is, why did he stay if Collins was such a disaster? But the other thing was I've seen this a few times now. Key doesn't have quality wins. Pitt and Duke are overrated. And I don't know that they are. Like, they're both sitting on 8 wins. If they win their bowl, they'll have 9 wins. For Tech to beat 8-9 win teams is not something we've done in the past. So I don't know how those aren't quality wins. Oh, well, he's won them by less than a touchdown. It doesn't matter whether you win by a point or 5,000 points. It's still a win. The only time that might matter is if you're in the college football playoff hunt, and that ain't Georgia Tech. As far as I can tell, we're not going to make the playoffs this year, boys, and we're probably not going to make a bowl. Seems unlikely that we'll make a bowl. So, look, cards on the table, I am biased. I do think Key has done more than enough to earn the job, because I just don't. If we don't have to hit the reset button, why do it? You know, let me ask you this: Dabo Swinney, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart take over after Collins is fired. Can you tell me they do a substantially better job than Key did? You know, maybe you say they'd beat Virginia and Miami. It's not clear to me, though. I mean, because they're going to come to Tech in the situation we're in, they're not coming in with the talent of Georgia or Alabama. Don't underplay how incredible this turnaround is that Key did. It's, you know, I don't think anyone thought he'd win more than a game or two, and he did far more than that. I was at the stadium this Saturday. Georgia fans were shocked, so we'll see. The only people that I've seen from reputable sources, and who knows how reputable they are now, it seems like Bill O'Brien, Jamie Chadwell, and Willie Fritz and Brent Key have been interviewed. I'm not aware of anyone that's been interviewed formally other than those people. And how dumb does Willie Fritz look right now, especially if he is not hired as the head coach? He kind of leaves his team I hate to say it, kind of high and dry before they're going into a championship game. You know, on his Facebook, he had changed his occupation from head coach at Tulane to former head coach at Tulane. So I don't know how this was boggled so badly. Now he's done an interview saying, yeah, he did meet with him, because he has to admit that. That's verifiably true. But no, he's committed to Tulane. You know, he's all about Tulane. I don't even like the circumstances of this. If he will kind of leave his team high and dry in the night and come interview at Tech on the precipice of a championship game, he would certainly do that at Georgia Tech. So I don't know. I just don't know how this has been boggled so badly. My worry is, which if you haven't seen, Nate McCullum is transferring. He's our best wide receiver. He's been our most productive wide receiver, and arguably the best player we've had on offense, period. He's entered the transfer portal. I think the longer this search goes on, the more transfer portals more people you're going to see enter the transfer portal. Nate McCullum won't be the last. We'll lose some recruits. That's going to happen anyways, but the longer this search stretches out, more of that's going to happen. I kind of think it's unlikely Key will be named the coach now, because if Key is your guy, he's certainly not the front runner, right? If he was, if tonight he was the front runner, I think we would have seen an announcement that he's going to be hired. So, and look, take all the time you need if it's the right hire. We got to do it, but I don't know what's going on now, because the AJC looks like idiots, Willie Fritz looks like an idiot, and Georgia Tech, it's just a circle of idiots right now. So we'll see what happens. I'll make another video as more information, comes out with it. I haven't seen any movement on it since they've said Fritz does not have a done deal. I haven't seen the only thing that's happened is those statements were retracted, and now they're saying he's the top candidate. But if he's the top candidate, why would you not have announced he's been hired? Maybe they're working out the terms of his deal, but he's back at Tulane. Someone help me make sense of this in the comments. What's going on? Help me make sense of it. Talk to y'all later.